On today's episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast, we're going to tug at your heartstrings a little bit as a driver and his mom are about to join us for a story of loss and triumph. And let me tell you, it's an emotional one. Let's jump in.
Welcome to the gold standard of podcasts for the gold standard of drivers. This is the Liquid Trucking Podcast with your host, Marcus Bridges.
What's up, everybody, and welcome into the Liquid Trucking Podcast, episode 113, I think. It's crazy. I can't even keep track of these things anymore. Thanks for clicking download today. I am here with my co-host, Amanda Casey. Amanda, how's your day so far today?
It's going well. What about you, man?
Well, I'm doing well. I really am. I'm excited about this episode, but I have to be honest with you. It's one of those episodes, we get to have so much fun on the Liquid Trucking Podcast. The team at Liquid pretty much gives us carte blanche to do whatever we want here. And part of that is every now and then when the heartstrings get tugged on a little bit, we get to focus on something that is maybe not super special just to me individually, but super special to someone involved in the podcast. And today's one of those days, and while it's going to be a great conversation, it's going to be very enlightening, and I think it's going to pull at the heartstrings a little bit. It's a serious conversation, and so we're not necessarily having a bunch of fun here today, but we're talking about something very important here in our next segment when Mikal, Donut, Duncan, and a special guest join us.
I was just going to say that as serious as the topic is, the fact that the person we're going to talk to is named Donut kind of, levels us out a little bit, I think.
Absolutely. And Donut he's got such a great personality and such a great attitude. I've never heard the guy upset. Even I've heard him on days that really should have upset him, but I haven't heard him upset. So I'm excited to get him on and talk about this. And, just to set it up a little bit for you guys, if you go back to episode 80, we had Donut on for the Father's Day special amongst, I think, 3 other drivers. And that was one of the times that he's talked a little bit about what we're going to talk about today, which is his younger brother and a situation that happened with his younger brother and the result of that situation. And without giving too much away, I'm trying to do the radio tease thing here because there's so much good stuff in this conversation we're going to talk about, but it's even hard for me right now to not just spill it for everybody, Amanda, because like I said, I'm really excited, but you don't hear that normal excitement in my voice because I know what we're about to talk about.
Yeah. And, honestly, who better to talk about something like this than Connor's own brother? So Donut, huge props to him and Jen and Mom for being able to come on and talk to us about this. But incredible people we're about to find out.
Absolutely. Now, I want to touch on the mom part because, yes, we are going to be talking to Connor's mom here very shortly, and you're a mom yourself, and I think that's where your heartstrings might get the tug because I know these guys. I've known them for a long time. I've got a personal relationship with them, but I know that moms are moms. And just talk to me a little bit about, I haven't given you a ton of information here, but tell me as a mom going into this, how you're feeling right now and just kind of what goes through your mind when you're about to hear the story you're about to hear.
Well, I mean, first off, we know that they lost Connor. So knowing that Jen lost a child, that's something that a feeling I don't ever want to be able to understand, so knowing that that's kind of the beginning of the story, I'm highly anticipating what comes from that, but it's hard to put yourself in that headspace. I will say, while I was getting ready to come and chat with you, I started baking cookies because even thinking about doing this interview today, even thinking about doing this podcast, it had me in my mom emotions. I'm in the empty nest stage right now. My kids, my youngest moved out. It'll be 2 years in March. So, I'm going through it, having them not be here, not be able to stand in their bedroom door and just, annoy them and tell them a really bad, I call them mom jokes because I'm a mom, but, and use their slang wrong on purpose and, do all the things that make them mad, like call it tickle talk. And you know what I mean? It's just, there's so many things that I think are so simple and we take for granted. And when our kids are young, it can be very stressful. My kids are all like Irish twins. They're all just under 2 years apart from each other. So there were crazy days, and there are so many days where you're so stressed out and you're like, oh my God, I can't wait for them to be at this level of independence or at this level of independence, or for them to be moved out. And, people would always say, it goes fast. Don't wish for it to be over. And I will tell you, the best phrase I ever heard was, the days are long, but the years are short. And now that I'm here at this point, that they're out of the house, how did I get here? How did we get here? It's crazy. So, the thought of them not being in my home anymore is so hard for me. I can't ever imagine what losing one of my children would do to me and what the result would be of that. So
sure. Now, are your kids, they're out of the house, but are they still close in proximity to you, or is it a long travel to get to go see them?
So 2 of them are pretty close. They're both about 45 minutes away, like one northwest, one northeast of here. But my middle child, I won't call her my favorite. She's in Washington State, which is so far. I'm at near Cleveland, Ohio, and she's very far from me, and that has been very, very difficult as a mom to have her that far. I think the hardest part was she went out there to go to college, Western Washington State, and at the beginning of the summer she signed a lease on an apartment because she is now a resident. She does not plan to move back from Washington State. So definitely difficult, but she texts me and she calls me and she sends me pictures and stuff. She's a good girl.
So are the cookies going in a care package? Are they getting mailed out? Or are you telling them, hey, if you want some of these, you got to come back and see mom?
You know what? I think that I'm definitely going to send them pictures of them for sure. My son might miraculously appear. Listen, my son, no rhyme or reason. This kid, there's no forethought in anything that he does. And somehow he showed up at my house on my birthday without even knowing it was my birthday. And I'm over here like, oh, my son came to see me on my birthday. And I find out afterwards he didn't even know. It was just random. So, and I think he has a girlfriend that lives near me now, so he might even be down here. If I send him a picture of the cookies, he'll probably show up.
He's going to show up. Yeah, he's going to show up. What kind of cookies are you making?
Home ec in like middle school, we did the Toll House chocolate chip cookie recipe. And I'm telling you, like since 6th grade, that's my go-to. I am no good at cut out like Christmas cookies. I'm just not good at it. But these, I nail it every time. So that's what we're doing.
My home ec class in high school sold Otis Spunkmeyer. We had a little Otis Spunkmeyer oven, and the cookies were like the size of a small tea saucer, and they were 3 for $1. Wrestling season was a nightmare, Amanda. I could not walk through that school without 3 of those cookies in my hand and not see my wrestling coach and have him be like, you're 6 pounds overweight. It's Wednesday. Like, stop eating cookies,
Man.
But
dude, props to your mom for having a kid in wrestling, because that's the one sport where you want to scream for your kid to kick someone's butt and you're not allowed to like actually say that. That's my son wrestled. That was, oh my God, like, yeah, get him, Jack. But yeah, calm down, mom.
Yeah. I think that what my mom might tell you, and she's going to hear this, so she'll call me and tell me if it's correct. But I think the thing she hated the most about it was that they wrestled for 3 out of 4 years. And during wrestling season on Thursday nights, dinner was a glass of water every single Thursday night, because you got to make weight and you just don't know, how much can I eat if I came in a pound under after practice? Probably not very much. Don't mess with it. And, you miss weight, and then the whole team looks at you like you let them down. And so, yeah, those glass of water dinners on Thursday night were something else. And I'll tell you, man, I look at pictures of myself on the wrestling team, and I've always thought of myself to be kind of soft and like I've got a little bit of a gut, like a 40-year-old dad bod. And I look at these pictures of me in wrestling and I think, Jesus, that kid needed help. Like, I look diseased and probably did some damage there, to be honest with you. But hey, whatever for sport, right? In high school, nothing else matters. It's all the sports.
Like every woman ever seeing pictures of ourselves in high school going, I can't believe I thought I was fat. But Yeah, no, and I'll tell you to back it up to the worst part about having a son in wrestling is spending 8 hours in a gym to watch them wrestle for maybe 10 minutes. Like, especially because, my son was good. So his matches, they would end so quickly. I might see him wrestle for 6 minutes in an 8 hour day. It was just crazy, crazy
Oh,
chaos. I'll have to send you a picture so you can see. My son cannot keep weight on. So he's the opposite. Like he cannot keep weight on no matter how much he eats. What a curse, right?
oh yeah.
But
Just the perfect guy to be a wrestler.
oh yeah,
I
but
mean,
he's always like about here to all the other guys. So it's real cute. I'll show you some pics. It's pretty adorable.
that's great. Yeah, I was in better shape than I've ever been in my life. I was not a good wrestler. I think I finished my entire career with a straight up 500 record. So my mom and dad had to watch me lose as much as they watched me win. And there were a lot of those 2-day tournaments where we just went home on Friday because I lost twice on Friday. And,
let's deep down, they're like, thank God,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
You want ice cream? Let's go.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, listen, it's great to get to set this up and get to learn a little bit more about you. I'm excited as we do more of these episodes. We're going to get to find out even more about you. Who is Amanda Casey? And I kind of am really excited about that because I've been just dishing about myself here for the last 113 episodes. So now we got somebody else to focus on. That makes me excited. But we're going to turn the page here and head into our conversation now with Mikal Donut Duncan and his mom, Jennifer Sheldon. It's a very good conversation. Lots of emotion in this conversation for sure. So enjoy it, and we'll have more information for you on the other side. Stick around. All right, Amanda, time to kick off this very exciting and very anticipated segment here on the Liquid Trucking Podcast. Now, I got to bring you up to speed a little bit here. One of our drivers that joins us all the time, Mikal Donut Duncan, told us going back, I think it's probably been 20 or 30 episodes ago, and he's mentioned it multiple times, that his family had sort of a foundation, and they were it was a memorial foundation, and they were working on these all abilities parks. And I kind of thought that was a really cool thing. We didn't get to spend very much time on it, Amanda. So today I wanted to bring him back in and actually give him an entire segment along with a guest that can really fill us in on this, because I think with what little information I've given you, Amanda, at this point, I think you're going to think this is really cool at the end of the segment. So sorry that I'm just kind of pushing you into the deep end of the pool here, but welcome to the Liquid Trucking Podcast. It's how we do things.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for the welcome. And this is actually perfect. I was able to see one of these be fundraised for and then be built in a community that I lived in. So super piquing my interest, and I can't wait to find out more about the project.
That's awesome. Well, let's welcome in our guest today. Joining us first, you guys know him well here on this podcast. His name is Mikal Donut Duncan. He is a liquid driver. Donut, always a pleasure to have you, man. I understand you're feeling a bit under the weather today, but thanks for making it happen for us, dude.
I absolutely love it. This is something that's pretty near and dear to my heart. So I am very much thankful to have this segment.
Well, you've done a lot for us on this podcast, and if this is the absolute least I can do to show my gratitude for all of your personal time and stories and just insight that you've given to this podcast, this would be my favorite way to do it, is to let you come on here and really give some airtime to something that really matters to you. And hopefully we can, affect a little bit of change with you guys. Hopefully we put some eyes on this thing and, people open their pockets, open their hearts a little bit, maybe some donations, fundraising, that type of thing. That's why we're here today. So, Donut, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce our other guest today, because I don't think I can do it justice like you can.
Okay. The other guest is Jennifer Sheldon. She happens to be my mother, and she is also in charge of public relations, marketing, and fundraising for Connor Sheldon Memorial, Inc., which is the nonprofit we started.
Yes, this is the nonprofit you started. And Jennifer, I want to say welcome to the show. Thank you so much for the time. Great to have you here today.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
So, which one of you guys would kind of like to start with giving us? I want to go through this whole thing from top to bottom here. I want to tell the whole story today because it's been so long, Donut, since we had you on, and you first kind of gave us a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of what you had going on here. So, walk me through it from the very beginning, if you don't mind, Donut, from the very start.
Okay. So, correct me if I get the date wrong, but so my little brother was having stomach issues, and he went into the hospital to have, I can't remember if it was an MRI or a CAT scan.
MRI.
MRI. Okay. He went in for an MRI on the 28th of September in 21. They had called me and told me, that this was happening. And then I got a phone call from my mom, from Jennifer here, and telling me that Connor had passed away in the MRI. And so
Oh my gosh.
that was a pretty emotional thing, because that's not even a procedure. That's sit in a tube and have imaging done. I've done it multiple times, and I didn't think anything of it, and I certainly didn't expect that phone call. And so obviously we went through the funerals and grieving processes and stuff, and in that, my mom and dad decided that instead of getting angry and instead of going at this in an aggressive manner, they decided to start a foundation in his name. That's why it's, the Connor Sheldon Memorial Inc. And so we're trying to bring joy to people that a lot of people don't think about. They actually hold a position. I just donate time and what money I can to fundraisers to help get them off the ground and help things move a little more smoothly.
Okay. So, Jennifer, I'll turn it over to you here, and my absolute deepest apologies and thoughts for the loss of young Connor. I can't imagine what that must have been like to go through. But to turn such a dark negative into a positive here with the foundation you created is, I feel like it's a really big person thing to do, because I can see where you would get angry because of the circumstances of what happened here. But I want to give you some time to just kind of walk us through from your perspective. What was behind that decision to not go about this the aggressive way, maybe the litigious way, maybe going to the news, and start this foundation instead?
So basically, we wanted to find a way to keep Connor's memory alive and do something positive. And so we were looking for things to do that we thought he would be proud of. Connor had Down syndrome and disabilities, so we thought an all-inclusive playground so that other kids and families could find joy in something that he would have found joy in was how we started it. Connor also had a lot of behavioral and educational issues. So the first part of it is the playground. The second part of it is we are going to have scholarships for people who are going to ABA services and special education, and some financial assistance to families who have children who will need ABA services, because right now, unless they have an autism diagnosis, the states won't pay for it. Some school districts will, some won't. Wow. So we're going to help that. Yeah. So we want to help out with that also, because Connor, in the 11 months that we lived here and he got ABA services, made such a change in the way things were in his life that we want to give back to that also, because we had 11 months with Connor that we never would have had without that help.
That's so cool. And so the parks that you're building, when you say the term All Abilities Park is something I've seen a lot of the places. What types of facilities here are you guys trying to put together? What do they look like? What kind of features do they have?
So the park itself, to get to the playground, would have ramps, wider sidewalks. The surface underneath the playground would be, I want to say, it's kind of like rubber, but hard enough that a wheelchair can roll over it smoothly. Mm-hmm. The playground equipment itself would be wheelchair accessible. There are stations for children with autism or other sensory issues where they can go to and have a quiet downtime space from it. to like reload if they're overstimulated and then go back to playing. It also, children with typical abilities would also be able to play there so that they all can play together. Even the tower has ramps so that no one would not be able to get up in like the tower. They have special wheelchair accessible, like teeter-totters, merry-go-rounds, swings. It will have all of that.
That's amazing. And yes, Amanda, what do you got for me?
So, Jen, I had read, and I'm not sure if this is still a location for the first park, but School Street Park. And I'm just wondering if that is still the first location. And if so, what's the significance of that being the spot?
That is what we're shooting for. It's still, we can't say officially because we still have to go before City Council to get it official, which is a whole journey to get to that point. But Connor's grave overlooks the park.
Oh, wow. How special.
Connor is buried directly above the park.
Are they, I know you probably can't give us a lot of detail here, but are you having trouble with the city council at this point in time? Because this wouldn't be the first time that I've seen a city council stand in the way of something that just seems to check every box about being the right thing to do. So I hope they're not giving you guff in that way. But your tone of voice, Jennifer, kind of made me think that maybe they are.
They're really not. We have a mayor whose wife also happens to be a special education teacher, so
good.
Very lucky there. And the fact that Connor overlooks the park has kind of touched his heart. Our city council, though, has had a brand new regime. So, like the city planner we were working with, most of the city council parks and rec people have changed. So basically, at this point, we're back to square one with that.
Oh, man.
It's a whole new process. We'll have to go back through everything with all of the people involved now. So we were completely clueless when we started this process, how long a process it would be. We are little over 2 years in. We're still trying to get our 501c3, that's the process. So, I mean, there's a lot of little things that we were completely oblivious to when we started this. Mm-hmm. It's still a work in progress, but we'll get it done.
It certainly seems like you've got the motivation and your heart's in the right place. I know when we had you on the first time and you brought this whole thing up, I know it was a pretty emotional story for you, man. And obviously, right there, that's no question about that. But what does it mean to you to see this get up off the ground and get moving, and what it's going to do for Connor's memory and his legacy? As you see your mom and stepdad fight this uphill battle, but they're fighting it valiantly.
It hits a very soft spot, because even if I never get to see it, I know that once it gets up and rolling, there will be kids running around and smiling and getting to do things that Connor rarely got to do. There weren't a lot of all-inclusive parks in the area, so he didn't really get to enjoy the swings like everybody else, or get to do a lot of that because they were too small for him or didn't have the access for his little legs. Mm-hmm. And it means a lot to me. I'm 16 years older than he is. He was a special little guy. He had to have everything his own way. Our sister was born same month as me. She is 2 years and 2 days younger than me. He, on the other hand, decided he was going to be born a month before that, exactly 1 month before my 16th birthday, and everything had been, his own way past that. And when I think about it, I would have just loved to have been there with him to do this. I would love that, and at least he can be here in spirit.
Absolutely. What a great way to put it. Donut, why don't you walk us through one of your favorite memories with Connor? Because I know at that age, right, at the age of 16, it's having a young, a brother, sister, maybe a nephew or something like that. You're still kind of at that age where you just don't really know. Like, you're still kind of a kid yourself, but you're also a little bit of an adult. Like, you've got a little bit of that coloration going on. So walk us through one of your favorite memories, one of your favorite stories.
I have two really strong memories with him, and one is super positive and one shows off his kind of more mischievous attitude.
Okay. Hit us with both of
everybody
them.
got to see him smile. Oh yeah, everybody got to see him smile. And I remember when he was little. He had just come home, just gotten off all of the hospital equipment, because he had a lot of medical issues when he was born. So he was on extra equipment for a while. And one of the first really strong memories I have with him is he grabbed a hold of my finger, and Mom was trying to pick him up, and he wouldn't let her. Every time she tried to pick him up, he screamed at the top of his little lungs. The first time he screamed when he tried to pull her, when she tried to pull him away, he even surprised himself because he had never been able to be that loud before. And it was just that moment. I'm like, this is my little brother, and I'll do everything I can to look after him.
That's awesome.
And
what a great memory.
And one time, I brought a girlfriend to meet my mom. And
the story was coming.
And my brother insisted that he would sit between me and my girlfriend. He wanted to be close to her. I guess he had good taste.
There you go. Right.
And he wanted to sit next to her, and I told him no. He was a heavier kid because of a lot to do with medications for his different issues. So he was a heftier little kid, and my girlfriend at the time had her own medical issues. He was a little too heavy for her, and every time he would get next to her, he tried to basically sit in her lap, and that didn't work. They were the same height, so it didn't really work. And I told him no. You can either sit on this side of me or the other side of her. You're not sitting between us, and you're not sitting on her. So he punched me in the face.
And he serves you right. Don't tell him what to do around the dinner table, man.
We were just sitting on the couch watching the show with him.
Oh, okay. Sitting on the couch. Sorry.
Yeah. And so he punched me in the face. That goes back to what my mom was talking about, that he had some behavioral issues. A lot of it was he didn't have the words to vocalize what he was feeling. So he'd lash out because that was the only way he could think of to try to tell you, I don't like this.
Sure. Well, listen.
And so, of course, like an older brother, I pushed him back. I went, no, we're not doing that. He looked up at me and went, can't. I said, why not? He said, baby, special. And I said, not to me, you're not. You're my little brother. If you want in on this sibling rivalry stuff, you're going to get it just like our sister. So in a huff, he walked up the stairs. He was quiet the whole way up the stairs. The moment he crested the stairs and knew that our mom could see him, he burst into tears, going, Michael, he hit me. And Mom responded with, well, what did you do? Nothing, Connor. So he turned and went into the bedroom where Dad was, and then burst into tears again, going, Michael, hit me. And he goes, I heard the whole thing. Don't even start.
Poor Connor couldn't buy a bucket that night, man.
No. But, that's a side of him a lot of people didn't see or didn't understand if they did. He wasn't doing it to be mean. He wasn't malicious. He was in a situation he didn't know how to vocalize.
Right.
That's something a lot of us take for granted. And that's why it's one of my favorite stories. Yeah, it seems a little violent and kind of looks like he was a bit of a jerk, but he was a person just like the rest of us. And we've all had those moments where we don't have the words and we lash out.
Yep.
It looks different, but it's kind of the same thing.
You know, I've been fortunate enough to have some people in my life with Down syndrome over the years, and while some of them haven't been as big a part of my life as others have, one thing I know about kids that suffer from Down syndrome is they love bigger, than what you and I can really even vocalize. Like, we talk about how we have the ability to express ourselves, and that in and of itself makes getting through this life a little bit easier. But I mean, I'm honestly choking up a little bit right now thinking about it, because it must be so hard to have that much love to give and not be able to express yourself with words. If that does a good job of explaining myself there. And Amanda, I'm going to have you take this one for me real quick while I grab a tissue here, because I knew this story was going to do this to me. And I'm so glad you guys came in here to share it with us today. Amanda, I'll let you ask a question here for a second, if that's okay.
I'll take the figurative wheel, so to speak. And Jen, I think this one I want to toss over to you as a mom of a child who is differently abled. If there was one thing that you wanted people to know, or one piece of advice you'd want to give to people that don't necessarily have the opportunity to get to know someone that is like that, what advice would you give them?
Oh, you know what? With Connor, there was a lot of advocating with people. Kids with other abilities are just like everybody else. Once you get to know them, they're happy, they're sad, they're mean, they're ornery. So, I mean, I guess just don't be afraid. A lot of times grown-ups are afraid to let their kids ask questions. Let them ask questions. That's how they're going to learn. You know, the staring is not a big deal to someone with a child, but let them ask the question, because that's why they're staring. They have a question. Let them ask it.
Right. And when it's children, it's normally never out of malice, right? The kids they're curious. No. That's human nature. They want to know things. They want to learn things. And I think that's such a great point that you just brought up there, Jennifer. Let the kids ask the questions. Kids don't have malice in their hearts, right?
Nope. Usually it's just because, well, I mean, especially with kids with Down syndrome, because you see the difference and they're just curious. Yeah, that's mostly what they want to know. Why? Why does he look different? Why does he sound different? And usually it's not to be mean. They just really want to know.
Right. Amanda, you told us off the jump that you've seen one of these parks actually get fundraised for and built. I assume that you maybe that was part of your past radio career or something like that. But talk to me about how that situation went down. I imagine the fundraising aspect is a very, very big part of this. Talk to me a little bit about the situation you experienced, how that whole thing went down.
Yeah, definitely. So for a brief period in my career, I was the in-game host for an affiliate of the Cleveland Guardians, a team called the Lake County Captains. They're out of East Lake, Ohio. And they are the ones who ended up putting in a park, a playground, and almost like a baseball field for differently abled kids. And, I got to be a part of kind of like the fundraising and then watching the groundbreaking and the building of that. And then obviously the use afterwards. And it was really cool because it was part of the grounds of where the ballpark was, but it was on the outside. So anybody in the community could use it. And that was the first playground like that I had ever seen or had even heard of before. And at that time, I did a lot of work also with the Board of Developmental Disabilities in that county. So getting to know a bunch of the people that were involved in programs there, then being able to go and use a facility like that, being excited about it being built, seeing the moms being so excited to have somewhere to bring their kids. I think, as a mom, your main goal is you want your kid to have every opportunity that all the other kids do. And so now I'm going to be the one who gets emotional, but I can only imagine, Jen, if you were able to see that, when Connor was younger, when he was playground hopping, what that would have done for you, how that would have made you feel. I've been able to see that happen. And I can tell you, just from our brief conversation, you're probably going to cry a lot the first time you open it and see those kids go out on that playground, because, oh my gosh, what a feeling of freedom to see on their faces.
So a side story with that. So since I was 22, I've worked with people with disabilities, and I was 34 when Connor was born. So I was in this field and this world before Connor even got here. But when we lost Connor, I was also working in a group home of people with disabilities. There's a gentleman there that is, he's 80 something now. He was 77, 78 at the time. He's never been on a swing. He's been in a wheelchair his whole life, and he's never been on a swing.
Oh my gosh.
So that was the deal breaker for me. There had to be a swing. When we were looking for companies for the equipment to build it, there had to be a swing not that you had to transfer him, because this is a very bigger man. You wouldn't be able to lift him. So they had to find me a swing that I could push a wheelchair on. That was the deal breaker. If you couldn't find it, you weren't building it. So we're going to have the swing that you can push the wheelchair on.
That's awesome. That's so cool. And what a cool way that kind of clicked for you, is because you've been doing this work for so long. I got to say this. I've always had such a big spot in my heart for people that work with differently abled people, whether they be kids or adults, Jennifer. And thank you is all I want to say, just from the bottom of the podcast team's heart. Thank you for the work you've been doing for your entire life. Without people like you around, it would be a much darker world out there for many people. And to not only see that you've spent your professional career doing this, but now you're going above and beyond in Connor's memory is so special. I was just Googling around here. I happened to stumble upon the Facebook page. Is it okay if we tell our listeners where they can go link up with you on Facebook, or is there a website or a place that you would have people go that maybe want to get involved, donate, help out in any way that they can, Jennifer?
So I gave Mikal the email address. I don't know if he's given it. We have the email, Connor Sheldon Memorial Inc. @gmail.com.
Okay.
You can do that. The Facebook page, you can share that. We can also get a hold of us there. The web page is a work in progress. It's coming, but it's had a few kinks, so it is under construction still.
Okay. So if you want to find it on Facebook, the group is called Connor Sheldon All-Inclusive Memorial Playground. If you pop that into the search bar on Facebook, it'll take you right to it. And again, the email Connor Sheldon Memorial Inc. @gmail.com, and we will make sure and put that in the description of this episode and get it up there. It'll be on the website podcast.liquidtrucking.com for when you guys go to listen to this episode. If you want to get in touch, I encourage you to, because I assume, Jennifer, you guys are you in the taking donations phase? Are you looking for volunteers? How could people help you if they hear this episode and feel so inclined?
Right now, we're taking donations. We will take volunteers. We have fundraisers from time to time. So yeah, if you want to volunteer for something, by all means, get in touch. We will throw you in there somewhere. When we get to 501c3, things will kick off a little better, because most places don't like businesses and things, because they want the tax exemption, the tax break. So without the 501c3, they can't get that. So once we get that, things will even be rolling better, because there are corporations, there are civic organizations that are already saying they will help, but they can't do it until after we have the 501c3. So we have things lined up. So yeah, but like I said, we'll take the donations. If you want to volunteer, we will find a place to put you. So yeah.
That's great. Well, if you're listening to this and you want to help out, go to the description for the email address, or check out the Connor Sheldon All-Inclusive Memorial Playground group on Facebook and get in touch. And the way that you've been describing this, Jennifer, it's kind of like pushing a really small, like a baseball-sized snowball off the top of a hill. You've made those first revolutions. You guys are picking up speed. You're figuring out all the things that need to be done and what order you have to do them in. But there's a moment in time shortly ahead in the future where this snowball gets too big to stop. And Donut has told us a few times that you guys are planning on not just doing the one park here. You have grander plans for this, maybe even nationwide. Is that true?
Eventually, we hope. That's the goal.
What a great goal to have. And the reason I bring that up is because I want everybody out there that's listening to know what you guys are really all about here. You want to keep Connor's memory alive. You want to get a great park that he can overlook there at his resting place. But more than anything, you guys want to open this up so that so many more kids, so many more people, I should just say, can get into a swing and feel what it's actually like, regardless of how old they are or what their ability set is.
Exactly.
That's so cool. Donut, you've been quiet over there, man. I don't want you to leave anything on the table here before we let you guys get back to it. Anything to add here for us?
I know how you feel about dead air, but like I feel like a lot of it's already been covered.
That's fine, man. I can cut dead air out. You're not bothering me at all.
Okay. Okay.
I cried a few minutes ago, Donut. I cried.
Fair. I know I've said it before, but Connor was not the first differently able child my mom had. I have autism, and I was a hellion. And so, of course, being the oldest, I was a learner. I was the learning child. So everything with Connor and with Hannah was very different. But I also got to benefit from my mom's experience with working with other people with disabilities. I never got treated like a lot of children with autism do. A lot of children with autism get treated as different or unable, and I didn't. My mom helped me find better ways to interact with the world around me rather than trying to be normal, because I never was gonna be.
Well,
And,
you say that all the time on this show, but I'll tell you what, man, you're right down the middle for this podcast, and we absolutely love everything about you and all the energy and just the uniqueness that you bring, man. It feels like every time we have you on here, we're talking about something that is just a few degrees off center, but it's always interesting. It's always fun. It's always a great conversation. So I got hats off to your mom, Jennifer, for the work she did on you as a kid, because you would have broke me, man. I'll tell you that much.
You have no idea. Yeah, I was a little worried about this because I feel like some people are going to be disappointed that I didn't spout off a bunch of unhinged comments this time. But this is something a little more dear to me and deserved the serious attention.
Well, if I know you well enough, you're not letting too many of those text messages that I send to the fleet slip by before you're getting back in touch with me and coming back on. So
No.
We'll get you back in for off-the-wall comments at another time.
Absolutely.
Just so glad that you guys were willing to come on here and walk us through this today and really, we got a peek behind the curtain the last time we talked about it. Now we know all about it. We know how we can help. We know where we can go to find out more information. And Amanda, I will tell you this right now. We are going to be rooting you guys on from behind the scenes here at the Liquid Trucking Podcast. And I want you both, obviously, Donut, you've got my number, but Jennifer, you've got it as well. And if there's ever anything that we can do for you here, even if that's just bringing you back on to talk about an event that's going on where you guys need volunteers or anything like that, we will keep that door wide open for you guys and the Connor Sheldon Memorial Inc. Just so cool. Amanda, I don't know if you have anything to add there. I've been just talking this whole time. I feel like I'm a little discombobulated. So anything to add before we send Jennifer and Donut on their way?
I got to say, I'm just in awe of Jennifer. And first of all, from the beginning of our conversation, you pointed out the fact that she chose a high road in dealing with her loss. But even the way that she raised Donut, I mean, she helped him navigate the world rather than try to change him for the world to be able to navigate him. And I just think that's so commendable, Jen, and just says so much about who you are as a person. And I think that you'd be such a great resource to anybody that has children that are differently able, that maybe would have questions or wonder, what worked, what helped, what made a difference, or just what means the most to you. But such a wonderful person. You guys are such a wonderful family. I'm grateful I got to talk to you all today.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys. I feel like we're in your debt here. You guys have given us such a great segment here, and I'm thinking about all the drivers and knowing the drivers that I know and the type of people that they are. I'm really hoping that we add some momentum to that snowball I talked about earlier here with this segment and anyone that we do in the future. Mikal, Donut, Duncan, as always, it's a pleasure to have you on, my friend. Thank you so much for being here today. And we got another one coming around the corner for you before too long. I'll bet we get some of those off-the-wall comments out of you.
Absolutely. We'll get back. We'll get back to a little more silly.
All right, man. Well, you be safe out there. Jennifer Sheldon, in charge of PR, marketing, and fundraising for the Connor Sheldon Memorial, Inc. Thank you so much for coming on here and telling a story. I know that this probably isn't something that you do quite frequently during the week, jumping on a podcast with a couple people you've never met before. It takes a little bit of courage, especially to talk about this subject matter, and we greatly appreciate your time today.
Oh, I appreciate you letting us talk.
Absolutely. You guys be safe, and we will update you in the future on the Connor Sheldon All-Inclusive Memorial Playground. Stick around. We've got a little bit more for you right around the corner. I owe you guys an apology. It's only, I think, the second time that I've let my tears actually creep up and come out of my eyes. There's been a lot of times, Amanda, on this podcast where I've been able to shove it down and keep my composure. That was not one of them.
Well, now I know what to look for. Now I know what the signs are when you're about to crack. So it starts a little bit at the edge of the eye, and then it's all over for you. So,
yep.
You know.
It always, and the chin starts wiggling a little bit. That's what I saw on my camera. You know, we're on camera here, and I'm monitoring it, and I watched my chin start to wiggle, and I thought, that's it. That's the point of no return right there. Like, I can feel it in the eyes, and sometimes beat it back. But, and you know what? Maybe it was better that I didn't today, because I really do have a giant soft spot in my heart for this. I will make time for it on this podcast anytime, and not just Mikal and Jennifer and Connor's story. If there's other stories out there like this, whether or not you've started a foundation and are trying to turn a negative into a positive in a very powerful way, or whether you're just dealing with it like most of us deal with it, there's always room for it here on this show. And, you know, part of what we do here is tell the stories about the people that work at Liquid Trucking. And I'd be willing to bet that 90% of you didn't know that story that Donut went through as a kid, and his whole family, and how they've responded to it. So I'm just really glad, Amanda, that we got to do that, even though it did what it did to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you.
Yeah. Well,
and you know.
Yeah. I think that moms are just kind of naturally tougher. So, and it was cool to take the wheel for a second, but such an interesting story, especially in the fact that, so what they decide to do, they want to try to build this playground for differently able children. But if you think about it, and this didn't even occur to me until, you know, towards the end of our convo, Jen has 2 children, well, 3 if you count her daughter, that are each differently abled. You know, because Connor, we know, had Down syndrome. And then Donut, Mike, told us that he's autistic. And then, you know, if his sister is, and I wouldn't say normal, because I would say that we're all different and all having different abilities. We're all normal. But if doesn't have a diagnosis, right? So then there's 3 children that Jen has that each have different abilities. And then to be able to know exactly what each of her children needs, I can't imagine how, as a mother, scary it must have felt to hear, you know, either Connor's or Donut's diagnosis. You know, you imagine what it's going to be like to be a mother, to be a parent, and I don't think that we prepare for all of those scenarios. And it sounds like Connor ended up being such a blessing. Like, his diagnosis was such a blessing. He was such a joy to everyone, and such a complicated little feisty, adorable personality. You know, just in hearing Donut talk about his brother, and be able to laugh and remember fondly. I mean, it just says so much about both of them and about their mother. But definitely, I would think, you know, especially if you've got people on the fleet that are young parents, it's, I'm sure, hitting close to home hearing this story, and, you know, either feeling extremely grateful, you know, for the simplicity maybe of what they have, or saying, hey, oh my gosh, there's somebody who understands, you know, my son is autistic, or my daughter has Down syndrome, and here's somebody who understands and gets me, and we work for the same company. So just incredible for them to be able to share that story and possibly make those connections with other people.
Absolutely, it is. And I want to encourage anybody listening right now, to send us an email, podcast@liquidtrucking.com. If that is you that Amanda just described and you want me to connect you with Donut, I'll happily do that. And I know that he would be more than happy to connect with you. And even if it's just to chat, sometimes just talking about these things and having somebody that understands and has been through similar things listen to you and help you along in your journey can be life-saving, really, in certain scenarios. But, we also, I think about this from the standpoint of you drivers spend a lot of time on the road, man. There's no question about it. We know what you do for a living. We know how the weeks go. And very good chance that if one of you drivers are that person that Amanda just described so well, you might be a little bit lonely out there and thinking about this stuff constantly. And so if we can help from, the community building standpoint here and help connect drivers to other drivers, we're going to do it. And those of you that have my personal number know that you can reach out to me anytime, morning, noon, or night. In fact, in the setup for this conversation that we just had, I can confirm to you that Donut and I texted one another after midnight on Pacific Coast time because he was actually out in California starting his day at like midnight, and I had not quite gotten to bed yet. So I'm telling you right now, when I say any time of the day, I do mean it. If you catch me sleeping, I can't do anything about it, but I'll get back to you whenever I wake up. And trust me, I'm getting up more and more every night because I'm in my 40s now. So it's like 2 or 3 times a night all of a sudden.
Welcome to that
I'm
club.
just up and doing stuff, This growing old stuff is for suckers, I'll tell you what. I wanted to also bring just some general info here. I was just researching all abilities parks, fully inclusive parks, and I had just some stats and info here for people that might be a little bit curious, because I've seen these things, but not having somebody, I have people in my life, but nobody in my family that would access an all abilities park for the reasons that it was built, right? And so I've seen them, I've driven by them. I'm really not that well versed in what they actually are and what they're meant to do. And so let me walk you through this a little bit here. While there isn't a single registry for all abilities parks, because the term kind of overlaps with inclusive playgrounds, universally accessible playgrounds, and ADA accessible play areas, there aren't like official national counts on these, but I do have some numbers here. There are at least 1,000 publicly listed accessible and inclusive playground sites in a large online directory, and that online directory is actually called accessibleplayground.net. You can go there, you can find all sorts of resources and a directory to more than 1,000 of these parks. Which, Amanda, that number alone kind of blew me away. I didn't know there was that many. It turns out that is just a fraction of them that are just listed on this website. There's actually a lot more of these out there. And there are many networks like Boundless Playgrounds. Kaboom is a place-based focused nonprofit. Shane's Inspiration has dozens of universally accessible and inclusive playgrounds. And there's actually, even beyond that, there are some places that actually do like more kind of focused sports. Like there's a baseball foundation out there, Amanda, that is they're only play baseball with differently abled kids, and it's just to get them out on the diamond in any way that they can. And so the baseball diamonds that they build are all abilities, all inclusive, ADA accessible. And I'll tell you, I start to feel the emotions well up again. I had no idea that we had, as a country, made so much movement in this area, and warms my heart.
There's a lot more, that we can do too. And to say, 1,000, you think about, maybe like in terms you and I know, like rated radio markets, there's what, like 400, and that's a drop in the bucket, right? So imagine how many cities across the United States. But you have to kind of dig in your community. And I looked around a little bit around here, and my city that I live in has a grant that they put out every year. You can go and apply. And what they do is they fund $150,000 to 2 different parks that already exist in the community for a revamp. So you submit your idea, and this is, where I live Akron, Ohio, but it's a larger grant that our city was granted. So that's why I say, if you do a little digging, you don't know, what you may be able to persuade your town, your city to do with, maybe something that they already have going on. Maybe it's more than just, hey, this playground's rusty and falling apart, we need a new one. If you get in there, you can kind of influence that change to maybe making sure it's inclusive for everybody, because everybody means everybody. So guess what? You get your park, you get your park, you get your park. I feel like Oprah of the playground, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, and when everybody does get their park, it doesn't matter if you go personally and use that park, you still get to feel good about it and being involved, kind of like you're saying, maybe just, we talked about kicking the snowball down the hill. Maybe just go into your city hall, wherever you can go, and just kick that snowball down the hill. You never know. There might be some people there that have just been itching for a citizen to walk in and tell them to start a project like that so they can get moving. And there are actually, I've got, what do I have here? 5 that are in construction or past their first construction and into like phase 2. And I figure since we're spread all over the damn place, so I'm in Oregon, you just heard that Amanda's in Ohio, you drivers are all over the Midwest, and so this is just kind of a collection of some of these things that are going in or already in place. Orchard Beach State Park in Manistee, Michigan, has an inclusive playground under construction with accessible equipment. Broader park upgrades will be underway through 2026. Edwardsville, Illinois, the new All Abilities playground planned at Lewis and Clark Community College, N.O. Nelson campus. The anticipated completion is 2026. Kenner, Louisiana, in Jefferson Parish, officials indicated plans for another inclusive playground along Kenner's lakefront after opening a major inclusive playground in Lafayette Park. Laredo, Texas has a phase 2 expansion of an ADA inclusive playground, adding sensory and access features, targeted completion early 2026. And finally, Capitola, California, Jade Street Park, Treasure Cove. This is a city project for a universally accessible playground, replacing older equipment that lacked inclusive features. So there's movement on this all over the place, and knowing that that the Connor Sheldon Memorial Inc. is jumping into the pool with their 501c3 when they get it dialed, and they're going to start trying to take this thing nationwide, just means we're going to have more of these. And how cool is that? I just couldn't be happier to know, like I said, that there's been so much movement on this, because it doesn't seem like that long ago, Amanda, that these all-inclusive ADA accessible parks became a thing. And it's kind of like, hey, slap on the wrist that it took us this long to figure out that this would be a really good idea.
Well, and, to go back to something Jen had said when I asked her, what kind of advice would you give to people? What would you tell people as far as being a parent of a differently abled child? And she says, let the kids ask questions. But I think that's like across the board. I think if I came away with anything from this, it's that we should all ask the questions. We should ask the questions of our community. We should ask the questions in the school system that our kids go to. Just ask those questions. What is out there? What can we do? How can I help? Just ask all the questions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well put. Well, that's going to put the brakes on episode 113 today. We are very grateful that Mikal Donut Duncan and Jennifer Sheldon joined us to talk about the Connor Sheldon Memorial Inc. And again, I want to remind you guys that if you want to learn more, send them an email, connorsheldonmemorialinc@gmail.com. or hop over on Facebook. And I actually wanted to correct something that I had said earlier. They have a Facebook page, and I gave you the wrong name for it. I want you to go to Facebook and type in Connor Sheldon Memorial Inc. The last one that I gave you, it says all-inclusive playground or something like that in the title. It still exists, but it's an old page. So if you want to find them on Facebook and get in touch with them, the address is up there, phone number, all the rest of it. Connor Sheldon Memorial Inc. And it's real simple to send them an email, connorsheldonmemorialinc@gmail.com. And they need help. So if you're feeling like helping, definitely look them up. They could use all the help. And as Jennifer said, if you feel like getting your hands dirty, they got work for you in any possible event. So if you're running through South Dakota, definitely give them a call and they'll put you to work. Amanda, thanks for being here with me today. I normally tell the drivers at this point in time to stay safe out there. Keep the shiny side up. I made you do that last time, so I'm going to go ahead and take it over this time for you.
Oh, man, I practiced too, but that's cool. I got it next time.
We'll see you guys next time. Tune in for episode 114 in 1 week.
Thanks for tuning in and being the gold standard of drivers on the road. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and tune in next week for another episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast.
Interested in finding out more about what it takes to bring a podcast like the Liquid Trucking Podcast to your fleet? Bulldog provides tailor-made top-to-bottom podcast production services. We'll meet your terminal staff, connect with your drivers, and bring you the content you want your drivers to hear. Type bulldog.works into your browser to connect with us and learn more about what we can do for your fleet. That's bulldog.works for podcasts, tenacious recruiting, and more.